Hello every fellow wargamer in the Flames of War community. This is a video I'm gonna do like a post show of the ETC. It will be me just sitting here rambling, talking about our adventures at the ETC and our preparations, and it will also be like view back of the last 2 years of the Danish performances at the ETC. Due to real life busyness, I haven't had time to update the channel for a year now. My plan was actually to update and make a video of how we did last year at the ETC in Belgium. So it's going to be a mixed match of how it went in the past 2 years here, and with a special focus on this year's ETC. I will showcase some pictures from the event. I didn't get to do that much video from this year's ETC. So next year we've been talking about on the team that we will get an additional guy that will have like a coach approach to the event and also be like a roadie, taking care of all the little things that need to be done in between the matches, you know, making sure that we know which tables to play on, where to set up next, starting to look upon the lists of the next team, try to anticipate who we're going to meet and also or face off against, and then also be a social media guy to update the community at home. But this year has been a really good year for us. We tried to break the meta by anticipating that people will bring KV lists and therefore also some anti-KV lists, and we talked among ourselves about the fact that the KV lists are strong but they are hit on 2+. So if we could give away like 2 games against the KVs, or at least just give the KVs just one good matchup, then we'd have 4 good matchups for us that we could utilize to advance in the bracket. Especially also the fact that the KVs are hit on 2+, we think is a double-edged sword. That yes, they are strong, and it's down to math whether you can penetrate the front armor 9, let's say, with some martyrs and so on. But in the end, the lists aren't that forgiving. It takes a quite skilled player to handle a KV list. So and we didn't just want to bring one KV list that we needed to guard through the matchups. So so we opted to go for no KVs, and what we actually brought was a Crusader list. For me, I brought a Crusader list with emphasis on making sure that the formation wouldn't break. So I also had some humpers with me. I'll try to show the lists here as I go through them, if possible. Otherwise, I'll just talk about the lists. But I had some Crusaders in my force, some 5 of those with 2 CS tanks in the HQ, and I also had some humpers, like 3 humpers, just to make sure they couldn't break my formation. And then I had some 25 pounders, which I would never bring in a late war match, I think, because they're too expensive. But in mid-war, they are, in my humble opinion, the best gun in the game, due to the fact that it can shoot direct fire, 2 shots with a turntable on anti-tank 9, firepower 3+, and they can reach every edge of the board. And I also needed the smoke to be able to assault. So in a fair fight, they would also be good at guarding my objective, which certainly became important when I faced off against Rerbe from Netherlands on the 2nd day. Then I also had some infantry. You need to have some infantry in your list, because I, at one point last time we played mid-war, had a similar list with smaller alterations. But at one particular game, I lost my infantry very early, and it came down to having my opponent from New Zealand, a nice gentleman there, I can't remember his name, sorry, but he had some infantry stands in a building, and I wasn't able to shoot him out of there, and therefore we played a draw. This year I got some good matchups, but also against some skilled players. So, but the pressure was on me through the event, because when you have a good matchup and you've been at DTC for 9 years in a row, and you've been playing Flames of War for around 12 years. Helge, our captain, he expects you to perform well. So I'm glad that I did what I could do for my team. But all the guys, they fought their pants off through and through the tournament. That was my list, and I also had some 17-pounders just to be in the back line, threatening him for not trying to go out the flanks of my Crusader tanks. And then I opted to go for the Kitty Hawk plane because I think obviously the Hurricane is very good with anti-tank 7 firepower 4+, and side armor in mid-war is really strong, but it's only 4 shots. And I brought it to kill I brought the Kitty Hawk to kill all the Lanciers and soft-skinned vehicles, and anti-tank 5 in the rear against 1 is particularly good in that fashion, I think. And also, if you have 9 points spent on a plane that cannot capture an objective, especially in a fair fight, let's say you have some reserves, you have to bring on the plane, otherwise, you've spent like 9% of your force not being able to do anything impactful in the game. So I kept them out. And I know one of the Polish guys, I can't remember, he had a similar list to mine with the Hurricane planes. Maybe he did better with his plane than mine, but I actually think my plane was the MVP of the event. Normally I've been talking against using planes, especially in late war, because I think the fact that you need to hit, like, say, a German tank that is careful in a field, try to range in with your rockets, the math says you won't kill anything, at least bail 1, and then you've spent 8 points on that. So, but in mid-war, with the utilization of the heavy machine guns, it performed really well. And then the other guys from the team, Helge had brought something for defense. I think he's a true master of that particular aspect of the game. And I spent some weeknights at Helge's place where we tested his list against mine. We knew that he was supposed to stop like heavy tanks, but he also needed to be able to face off against the Crusaders because it's such a strong list, and we knew it would be coming at least in most of the forces, or at least against in most of the different nations lists. They would bring at least one Crusader list. So we tested his list a lot, and tried to utilize light cars, German reconnaissance formation with all the little 252s or 251s, sorry, and so on and so forth. So we ended up with him bringing a Panzer III list. So if there were some fair fights, as we saw a bunch of times at the ETC in Belgium in 2022, he would be able to push out. And then also with the Hungarian allies that he had, we saw that being used in a bunch of lists at the event. So yes, Helge, he is the master of defense, and in my humble opinion, it is the most difficult thing in Flames of War and requires the most skill. So for Helge to pull off 4 victories and 2 draws, especially against Chris Jackson, who's like one of the best players in the US, is really good. Well done by Helge. And also the fact that when we play as a team, he doesn't try to give himself good matchups for him to look good or anything. We perform as a team, and we know that everybody has done their utmost to try to win. So for him to spend his forces or to spend his own force as let's say to take a boss hit, and then we all get good matchups, so we have 4 good matchups, he certainly does that. So Helge, he had a really nice list with some Hungarian allies with HMGs in his infantry platoons, and then the Panzer III company, some Nimrods to safeguard his Ferdinand, and then some very expensive but well utilized martyrs in his force. So well done to Helge also for doing really well, and he's also really good at thinking at the matchups and thinking a few steps ahead. And Anders, our coach, who's been a coach for 2 years now, he's good at giving Helge some pointers through the matchups, but we try not to intervene too much with Helge's thinking. He just asks us, can you take this or not? And that's all the input he needs. So he did really well. Morten Schmidt, the guy who played our Italian list, did really well. He had a formation of carries, so the L6s. I think he had 16 of those, and then just 188 and a different assortment of Italian infantry. And Morten, he's very fond of the assault mortars with the smoke. He's a master of that and brings that to good use in his games. And then he had a lot of semoventes, especially the long ones. He had opted to have one big platoon of 6 of those, and I think it's like 36 points or something similar to that. And he, when he got the matchups he needed, he really performed. So well done, Morten. And I know Søren Petersen from Iceland has been sparring with Morten in regards to how he should build his Italian list. Obviously, he's also been sparring with us, but I don't know that much about the Italians, so I'm glad that Søren helped us out. Even though he lives in Iceland, he has a Danish passport, so it was good that he helped us out. Then Anders, he played some Americans, and his first stance through the tournament was attack, and he had like a Lee list with some Shermans and some infantry dudes with bazookas and a lot of templates and so on. But Anders, he had some tough matchups and some games that came down to the wire, but he also performed really well and got us 2 victories. Got some important draws against some of the better teams, so we wouldn't give them any freebies in regards to the rest of the tournament. So well done to Anders, and he has been such a great guy to have on the team. And Anders is there with his family, and he helped out with everything from planning training, making sure that we had accommodation at the event, and a lot of things like that. And also he's a great master of knowing all the other forces that people bring, and the nice neat little tricks they can do. So he will always tell you, be aware of this and that beforehand, like before a game. Yeah, excuse me. It's in my flat. There's you can sometimes hear the neighbors. And then Jesper Hågaard, our black belt karate guy, who's an engineer and thinks, in geometry and things like an engineer, and sometimes overanalyzes stuff, but most of the time he's like really good at thinking math. And he's been teaching us a lot on the team on how to calculate the risks in regards to, say you want to do an assault, what is the likeliness of this to succeed or not. And he had brought some bazookas for the game, and those bazookas he tried to max out on that and be like a roadblock for the KVs. And Jesper he has such an incredible, how can I put it? Like he's so good at keeping back his his ambush. And sometimes if it's against a lesser skilled player, they'll completely forget about this, that he had an entire infantry squad in platoon in ambush with 5 bazookas. So we put him up against the KVs, and what he tends to do is like he makes roadblock after roadblock and do all the little competitive tricks, like screening off routes of attack with half tracks and stuff like that. And then he had thought through how he would have his reserve, so it would be like a big strong unit of Shermans, and then a big strong unit of stewards that could come in and, you know, be like fire extinguishers when needed. And Jesper, he won 3 games, which was really nice against the KVs, and it's so tiresome to play against the KVs, where you really have to constantly think about routes of attack, diverting his way of advance and stuff like that. And I think when he played against Vince, who's a really great player from the US, Jesper, he was so, you know, his mental stamina was simply not just there. So Vince, I talked to him afterwards, and he said that if he had kept his cool, he could have won that game. So, but Jesper, really well done, my friend. Also in regards to all the stuff you've been doing offsite gaming, well done, my friend. And it's a pleasure to have you on the team always. And then it comes down to the other Jesper, handsome Jesper as we call him. Normally he plays the Germans really well. We opted to use him for a maneuver list this year, but I think Jesper, after the event, he talked about that his list was not like optimized enough, and then maybe we should have altered his list, and he would have performed better. But Jesper, he had some really close matchups where it ended in a draw, and sometimes we also threw him against the bus just to, as I said earlier, to make sure that we had some 4 good matchups. And the mental strain of losing the first 2 games after the last 2 years, both in Switzerland and in Belgium in 22, doing really well. It's I know how, you know, tough it is. I also been at DTC where I only managed to get 1 win and a bunch of draws for my team. So well done to Jesper as well. You know, he's a really great player, and yeah, next year you'll be back with a vengeance, my friend. I think that was everyone. Me, Helge, and Morten, Anders, Jesper, and Jesper. So well done, guys. I'll try and go through the games now, where you can see some pictures where I will narrate something, and then also update you who we faced during the different events. But first of all, before we start with that, I'd like to tell everyone at DTC that we had some great games, some great opponents, and my experience is that when you play historical games, you don't have that guy at the tables, and it's more mature people playing, and even though you want to win, you don't see too many, you know, rage quits or like people acting just, you know, in a bad way, and you must remember you're representing your gaming community. So when you play, it's important that you show the best of your skill gaming wise, but also like you represent the Danish gaming community. So if ever you want to like go to a tournament in that particular country, you might not want to do that if you've faced against somebody and you think, okay, is that how everyone is in that particular country? So, but genuinely this year there's been no fuss, and there's been, you know, all smiles and laughs, and some great games, some great opponents, and some tight games. And yeah, so I'll go through our matchup now, or like our adventure through the ETC, and then I'll also do like a post-show talk where I tell about all the other things that happened around the ETC. So stay tuned, guys. Yes, as I said earlier in the show, I wanted to also tell about how it went in 2022 in Belgium, because I didn't have the time to during the past year to do something on YouTube because of real life stuff. But this year was the force I used last year, and I opted to bring some paratroopers that I made to look like they are in Normandy, and then there's some small contingency of mortars as well. And I had an allied platoon from the US with oddball right there. It cost me a lot of money to get that rare objective, but I wanted him in my force because I think it's a cool idea to showcase some Hollywood things in in my force as well. And then I opted to bring some AVREs as well, where I converted them using stuff from ssmodels.com, and also my converted Forged in Battle Achilles. And then I had an armored car formation with Daimlers and Universal Carriers armed with 50 cals. And I also had a small platoon of Italian Churchills for assaults that you can see here. And then I made some objectives depicting forces in Holland here with the Dutch resistance guy and everything. And then the other objective was the scene from Kelly's Heroes, where Oddball just drives through the tunnel and shoot up all the Germans. And then I had some crocodiles along with my force because I liked the Thunderhammer 13. So this was the force I opted to bring for 22 ATC. So back in 2022, we went into the tournament full of confidence. We had been practicing an entire year in advance, and we thought that we really had the shot at the podium this time. We had done our preparations, we have thought through our lists, we had done a lot of practice games with other guys from the community, and we really thought that we had a shot at the podium. These guys would do anything for one another, and we hoped that we could be just like the Musketeers, all for one and one for all. So upon arriving to the ETC back in 2022, we went around greeting everybody else as we should do. And we were really amazed to see the high standard for the tables. You could really tell that everyone in the Belgian community and the rest of the ETC community had pitched in to make sure the tables had a high standards. And also at the event, just like this year, the catering was amazing. So in regards to everything around the event, there's no finger to put on anything. And here you can see Robbie, he's greeting all the players, telling us how to behave and the code of conduct and all the practical stuff in regards to participating in the ETC. It was a great hosted event by the Belgians, not only just this year but also last year, and the things that were an issue last year was improved, so we could really sit down and just enjoy the event. So back in 2022, we had to first face off against the Netherlands, and I'm trying to showcase here how a captain's game is taking place. And you can see Tim Boss on the left here facing off against Helge in the matchup. And this is something that is very unique and very important at DTC, because if you don't get a good matchup, you might be thrown under the bus, as we say. So you always try to make sure you get as good matchups as possible. And back in 2022, our stances was hidden. So pre-hand, we had to figure out whether or not the guys from the Netherlands had a maneuver list or a defend list, and so on and so forth. And we tend not to intervene when Helge is doing the matchups. Only Anders, our coach, helps out. And if he needs something, Helge needs something from a player, he will call upon one of the players and he'll ask him, could you take this list or would you rather face this list? Because you have to think a few steps ahead in regards to the matchups. And you can see here Jesper Hågaard is being called upon to be asked whether or not he can take a certain list. And the other guys are patiently standing and waiting and just chatting with me. And yeah, we ended up beating Holland 4-2. So it was a great start for us back in 22. Okay, I'm right here in Belgium with my new best friend, Freek.
Hi, I'm Freek from the Netherlands.
And we are to play against each other here in the first round at the ETC. And we're going to play against each other on this beautiful Pegasus bridge table. And it's going to be great because I brought Paros, so I have to capture the bridge because I'm attacking. So I'll do a quick update later on how the game went.
May the best win.
Yes, exactly. And the winner buys beer. After our victory against the Netherlands, we were to face off against the guys from the English team. They are a bunch of very experienced and skilled players. So we really had to think the matchups through, and we had to play the mission called Fighting Withdrawal. So we wanted to get as many attacks as possible because it's very difficult to defend in Fighting Withdrawal. So in my second game at DTC, I'm playing against Graham. Say hello, sir. He's yawning, he's tired, he's an old man, and we have to play here at this table here. And Graham is defending with his 116th Greyhound Division, and I'm to attack with my UK force. And Graham and I are great sports, so we already sorted out stuff that might be an issue later. So and also the fact that the winner has to buy beer. And Graham said that if the game is too long, then we'll have beer prior. So stay tuned. I'll try and update you through the game. I just won in Fighting Withdrawal against Graham, and it was a very close fight. And we had a lot of banter and fun. But in the end, I won by managing to kill some of his stones up here. And then afterwards, we talked about that he should have placed his king tigers, one of each objective, as an impenetrable wall. But of course, I didn't tell him anything while we played. But I owed the guy a beer, and the beers are right over there. So I'll play Graham any day.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers, mate.
We ended up winning against England 4-2. So after the first day, we were number 1 in the bracket, and we had to face off against a true powerhouse at DTC, namely the United States team. They consist of some of the greatest players that the United States has to offer, so we knew we were in for a tough match. But then again, we are really good friends with the United States team, and we have this tradition where we go out on Sundays at DTC for dinner and talk about all the different accomplishments we have achieved during DTC. And we would play against the United States any day. They are truly gentlemen at the tables.
Okay, today is the second day at DTC, and I'm here with two of my very nice friends from the US of A. And apparently there's a lot of friendly banter going around. But I taught this guy how to say what in Danish?
Mere ul, please.
Exactly. So
Yes.
Sundays we go drinking. But guys, how has your ETC been so far?
It's been good. I think, both our teams here near the top, so it'll be a good challenge to play you guys. It's always fun games, and the camaraderie is always, the top notch. That's the best part.
And Igor, you also have Nordic roots?
I do. My family comes from Norway, so that means that you and I are related, except for today.
Okay, so there won't be any family ties that you need to make sure it's not
No.
broken or anything?
No,
Okay.
not at all, because I know you're going to show me no mercy.
Okay. Best of luck, guys.
Thank you. You too.
We ended up losing more games against Team US than we won. But hey, at least we got a few big points and a draw against them, so we were not out of the fight yet. After our game against Team US, we were forced further down the bracket on 5th place. But we had already now faced England and Team US, so we were now to face Team Poland due to the fact that Switzerland had already played Poland. And now we knew we also had a very tough match ahead of us. So the guys started to sit down and look at all their lists and try to make up a plan that could give us some wins against Team Poland. So this is the 4th game at DTC, and I'm playing against Adam. Adam, say hello.
Hello.
We are playing here on this table here. I'll show you guys. And to play here in Breakthrough, I have my objective here, over here. And Adam is acquiring some infantry here at the moment. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so me and Adam just played a game, and we had to play Breakthrough, and it all came down to very dicey rolls. And we played a lot of sixes, yeah. But we played a draw, and I'm very glad and humbled by the fact that Adam said to me that I was his best opponent, that gave him the most competition.
Guys, this is the best player other than really. Good game, good rolls, interesting list. Avery against infantry, Ferdinand hits 2 times with the Piat, but safe.
Yeah.
Very good game.
And then also my mortars were quite killy at one point, killing three
Three
Spearverbands.
confident, yeah.
Yeah.
And the one also.
Yeah, but it was,
Excellent battle.
so what is going to happen now is that me and Adam is going to go to the bar and get a beer, and I'm buying.
Not only is Poland a strong team, but they also had some insane luck on their side. Especially Helje's game against Michael stands out, where he received his Chaffees on the particular side that he needed them to shoot Helje's King Tigers in the side, and he managed to destroy both tanks with an anti-tank 10 gun. So, what can we do? After our intense game against Poland, we defended our 5th place, and we were not out of it yet. We still had a shot at reaching the podium. But up next, we had to face another strong team, namely Team Romania.
Hi guys, guess which team we are playing today? No another?
Team Romania.
Team Romania. My good friend Theo from the chat.
Exactly.
And here's Igor.
Exactly. Hello, Igor.
And Theo said that, I said to Theo that for 3.5 hours today we are not friends, we are enemies, but Theo said that we are friends forever.
Friends forever,
Yeah.
exactly.
So the winner buys beer, and the matchups are just to take place, and hopefully we'll have fair play games.
Fair
and
play forever. It's no problem on that. The problem is, are we gonna be sore losers or not? And I hope not.
We'll see.
Romania is a strong and competitive team, so we knew we had to put in a lot of effort to get at least some big points from them. You see here Helje and Anders is thinking about whether or not to put out a certain army, and Jesper has his reference sheet on the computer to check whether or not a certain guy can take upon a certain army. Due to the fact that it's almost 2 years ago, I cannot remember exactly how our matches went, but I think we played something similar to a draw or something, like Romania won a few more games than us. But hey, we had a great time facing them.
So today, at the 3rd day at ETC, I'm facing up against Bogdan. Say hello.
Hey.
And he's part of Team Romania, Theo's team, that you also know from chatting with friends. And I'm to play no retreat against Bogdan's list. Can I please borrow the list for a sec?
Here you go.
So he has an R2 light company, some Romanians, and some brigade Panzer-Grenadier allied formation. So basically he will be defending in no retreat, and he's setting up right now. He has a very beautiful stand here, the Romanian flag. Being Romanian, maybe it's Bogdan's avatar playing on the table. We'll see. Best of luck, mate.
Thank you. Best of luck to you too.
I ended up playing draw against Bogdan due to the fact I couldn't counterattack and win the objective.
Okay, I'm here with my captain Helje, and we had a round that could have gone better against Romania, but we didn't give them that much. So they only got 2 wins, and we got 1, and then a bunch of draws. So now we are on the 4th place. And Helje, which countries have you met so far?
Well, we've met some of the really tough ones. We've met the United States, we've met Poland, and we've met Romania. That's probably some of the toughest opponents you'll
And
find.
England.
And England, they're good opponents, but they're not tough. I enjoyed
Playing them,
them. They are not as competitive.
No. And then now we can either face Switzerland, France, or Serbia in my calculations, but the pairing will soon be up. So if we do like a phantom round right now, we might end up on the podium, or at least defend our 4th place from last year.
Well, I think it'll go either way. If we win, if we take 3 wins, we will go far. 3 wins should be enough in my calculation to put us very close to the podium, depending on the players, of course. So I think we should go for winning now, full speed ahead.
Yeah, just try and win, and if we lose, fuck it.
Yeah. If we lose, fuck it. We're not going for draws this round.
No.
The opponents might go for draws if they have a good position, but we are not going for draws now. We're going full YOLO.
So stay tuned.
Ah, you filming?
Yeah. So I'm playing against Livio in the last round, and he is a mercenary for Team France, and may the best English player win. And we are playing Escaped, and Livio is setting up his forces right here. So stay tuned, and hopefully I'll get a win, or we'll just have fun.
We ended up playing a bunch of draws against Team France, and with me losing to Livio, who's also a great player,
this time fighting for Team France as a mercenary, we knew we were out of the top bracket. We ended up not having enough mental stamina to pull through against France, but then we got awarded another prize. And after a small misunderstanding with us getting the award for favorite opponent, we got awarded the best painted armies at DTC. And with so many great painters at one place, it is a very tough competition. And for me and the team to win this for the second time in a row and 3 times overall, it means the world to me, and I know it does to the guys as well. When you sit and spend countless hours on weeknights painting your army, trying to get all the little details right and all the historical aspects of your force just right to showcase it perfectly as it were back in the days, it means the world to me. And as you can see here in the video, I'm really fond and really excited of getting my prize. So, well, thanks a lot for all the guys that voted for us back then. It means the world to us. Team Iceland ended up winning favorite opponent, and I think it's quite remarkable for such a brand new team to make such an impact at DTC. I know that Søren had put in a lot of effort in establishing the team, and the way they represented wargaming on Iceland is truly something to be admired. So congratulations Team Iceland, and I hope to see you all back at DTC in 2024. Poland ended up getting 3rd place, so congratulations to Michael and all the other guys, and especially Adam that I played against. Well done back then, guys. I hope to see you also back in 2024. England ended up on the 2nd place after doing a so-called submarine through the tournament. After a horrible day for Team England, on the 2nd day they played against Team UN and won 6 games that all of a sudden made them a contender for the podium again. So congratulations to Graham, Fess and all the other guys. I'm hoping to see you guys back at DTC in 2024. The winners of the 2022 ETC was none other than Team US. They had done a great job in preparing for the ETC, really bringing some well and thought through lists. Also, they ended up outsmarting a lot of the other teams in their pairing. It was a nice touch when they used Vince's list that looked like a defense list as an attack list. So all in all, well done Team US, and I'm always glad to play you guys. I also am looking forward to seeing you guys at the 2024 ETC. Once again, congratulations. Before we get to the 2023 ETC, here's a final look upon my army that helped us win Best Painted back in 2022. This brings us to the ETC that we just finished in Belgium. This year we didn't have the same time to practice and prepare as we had in 2022. Despite this, we thought that we would bring something in order to try to break the KV meta. We opted not to bring any KV lists in order for us to get some good matchups against all the anti-KV lists. In the raffle, we got Team Italy as our first opponent. They had really put in a lot of practice prior to going to DTC, so we were somewhat anxious for our first game against those guys. Helge and Anand managed to give us some great matchups, so now it was all up to the players. And of course, we had to kick off with our famous war cry. I won my first game against my Italian opponent, and my planes were definitely the MVP, throwing almost a Yahtzee with 5 sixes to hit on 6s in my very first action with those guys. So well done, little Killyhawks. We ended up getting 3 wins against Team Italy, so we were off to a great start. Our second game on day 1 were to be against the Team Landsknechte. The Landsknechte team is a team combined of mercenaries from all over the globe. We did not know what to expect from the Team Landsknechte. We knew they had Theo on their team, so we would not underestimate them at any circumstance. We managed to get some decent matchups against the Landsknechte team. I enjoyed my game against John Holland from the US, who was a mercenary this year for Team Landsknechte. We had a lot of games that went right down to the wire. In both me and Jesper Hågård's games, it all came down to a 4+ and we would have won our games. Unfortunately, we ended up playing draws instead. So the final score against Team Landsknechte became 2 wins, 2 losses and 2 draws. So after the first day, we were on 9th place. And with 4 games to go, we still had a good shot of reaching the podium or at least top 5. On our first game, on the second day, we were to face off against the Netherlands. Back in 2022, we won 4-2 against them. This year, we opted to try and do the same, and I think Anders and Helge managed to do some great matchups for us. I ended up playing against their Russian attack list. The mission we rolled for became Dust Up. I was hard pressed during the entire game until I started getting my reserves, and I ended up winning on the objective in his deployment zone. After some intense games, we got 5 wins against the Netherlands, and we are now back in the game. So after our victory against the Netherlands, we knew we now had to face some of the strong teams in the top bracket. And we had to face none other than Team US. I managed to win my game against Jonathan Myers in Bridgehead, and the other guys played a bunch of draws, and the US ended up winning 2-1 against us. After the second day, we had improved our position to 7th place, and we were now to face off against Belgium. But on the second day, we also had the social event, where Robbie had asked me to host a quiz, or rather a World War II pub quiz. Him and I talked about this idea when we were both attending the Finnish GT. We thought it could be a great idea for people to test out their skill and knowledge about the Second World War. The quiz consisted of questions both on beginner, intermediate and expert level. The quiz was full of questions about political issues, military equipment and famous battles. The German team ended up winning with 30 correct answers out of 35, and Richard Hardy won the singles event with 13 correct answers out of 18. So well done, guys. I got a lot of positive feedback on the quiz, so I might be willing to host one next year as well. So the third and final day at DTC were about to begin. We were now to face off against Belgium. The Belgian team had really improved in the past 3 years, so we were not to underestimate them. Normally we keep strict discipline during the pairing sessions, letting Helge make all the decisions with only advice from Anders. But unfortunately, we intervened too much, which pulled Helge off balance and resulted in us having some bad matchups. Despite this setback, we managed to pull through and got 4 wins against Belgium. I won my game against Hans in no retreat. After our game against
Belgium, we were now on 5th place and truly had a shot at the podium. We were to face off against Northern Ireland next. So in the last round at ETC, I finished quite early, winning against Greg's army 8-1. But afterwards, I went around looking at the other tables, where Scott was fighting it out against Jesper. Jesper ended up winning the game in a very close match. It came right down to the wire. Helge played against Johnny Fisher, who's also a very skilled and accomplished player, and Helge ended up winning by a whisker in the end. Unfortunately, Anders lost his game to John Cederberg, who was participating as a mercenary on Team Northern Ireland. John also had some really cool casino dices that he put to good use against Anders. Here we can see that he is failing a morale check for his steward to run home.
But it's so cool with the casino dice, I love it.
Jesper Raff was fighting out against Keith Gilmore, the table you see here. It came right down to the wire, and if they had had one more turn, either of them could have won. So, what a game.
I'm just updating the guys at home in the Danish community. Keith is one of the greatest players in the US. Been to Masters and everything.
On the last table, Morten faced Richard Hardy, and Morten ended up winning the game, giving us 4 victories against Team Northern Ireland. We finished just outside the podium, with Italy having more small points than us. With us not having practice as much as we wanted prior to the event, I think we can be proud of our accomplishment of reaching the top 5. Individually, I ended up on 6th place, but at the ETC, your wins also comes down to which matchup you had during the event. Poland ended up winning the event with 2 points down to the US, who became 2nd. As I already said, Italy became 3rd, and Paolo, who's also part of Team Italy, became the best individual general. Etienne from Team Switzerland won the best painted individual army, and the Finns won best painted team. This year's favorite opponent became Team Ireland, so well done to all the winners. I am so proud of the guys on the team. Each player is unique, each with their own skill set and style of play, but together we make the difference. Well played, guys. I couldn't pick a better team if I wanted. Finally, I'll showcase the armies that we brought for the 2023 ETC in Belgium. So, after this long video of me showcasing 2 years worth of ETC for the Danish ETC team, I have to give out some honorable mentions, especially to Robbie, his team, Mark, Hilde, Tim and all the other guys for showcasing how well you can run an ETC. It couldn't have been done without these guys. So, once again, thanks for everything. If you like this video and the stuff that I do here on my YouTube, I know I haven't been that active due to real stuff that I had to do in my life, but I will start to make more videos, hopefully. So if you like the content, please subscribe, like, share the video, and hopefully we'll see each other at some gaming events around in Europe. Maybe in the United States, we'll never know. But once again, congratulations to the past 2 years winners of all the contents and all the different events that were going on at DTC. Well done, and I hope to see you in the near future. Bye for now, guys.